Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House, and please welcome the head coach of the Fighting Irish, Brian Kelly.
Jack,
Coach,
how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Awesome. Couldn't be better.
Well, you could be a little better. Through,
well,
but
6-0 would be better.
But I think, and this is going to be a theme of some of the questions, as disappointed as fans are, I don't think they understand the daily life of players or coaches. And one thing that you all recognize is the past is past. There is nothing you can do about the past. What you can do is make sure losing a game last week doesn't cost you another game this week. So you guys are focused and enthusiastic and ready to go. What I'm saying is some people are living under a dark cloud right now. You aren't, and your players aren't, and your staff isn't.
No, I mean, obviously we wanted to win last week. Our guys played really hard. The conditions were very difficult. And look, at the end of the day, you know, we needed to execute a little bit better. We needed to coach a little bit better. But, you know, we're in the process of learning and developing each and every week. And, you know, I like what our kids are doing. They give us a great attitude each day at practice. They come prepared. They prepared themselves the right way the last month. And Saturdays they're excited to play. So it's just a matter of time. And I know Notre Dame Nation wants to happen tonight and tomorrow and the next day, and I get that. And it comes with the territory that, you know, they're going to, you know, be upset with the head coach, and I get that. And I take all of that, and it comes with being the head football coach at Notre Dame. But this football team is going to be a really, really good team for a long time. It's the youngest football team that Notre Dame's had since 1972. And they've never had to also replace 5 juniors. And those aren't excuses because we've never used them. But we're here because we're inexperienced in certain areas. But they are gaining it because they are working their tails off to get there. And it reminds me of some teams that I've had at other places. And when they get it, they're going to win games for a long time, and it's going to be fun, and everybody's going to have their glasses filled, and they're going to raise them high, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And I think that's going to be this Saturday night after we whip up on Stanford.
And you mentioned one of those previous teams during your press conference tonight, and then no one knows better than you the social media world that we now live in. So you were already worried that people were going to be tweeting out you're going to win 5 national championships. But back in '99 at Grand Valley State, you were 5-5-1. A lot of young players, a lot like this, and that team went on to win 50 of their next 54 games. Now, you're not certainly predicting that, but you have, in a sense. People always wonder, because you've had so much success, if you've ever been in this situation, and the answer is maybe not at this level, but you've been at this situation.
Yeah, I mean, this is my 27th year being a head football coach, so it's not like it's my 3rd year being a head coach. I've done it for 27 years, so I know a little bit about what teams look like and how to develop them, and we've been hard on this team, and we've been hard on them because we've set a standard of play that we want to endure for many, many years to come. We're going to have a little bit of a blip, but we're not going to have the 15 years of slide that preceded me here, because we're going to win a lot of football games. And this team right here is poised to do it. It's getting there. I like where they are. They work so hard. Their attitude is great, and we've recruited well too. And we've got a lot of young players that are learning every single day. And it was enjoyable to be out there with them today.
Now, you just brought up, you've been hard on this team, and you know your demeanor seems to get a lot of attention. But again, I'll direct folks to your TV show this week. And this isn't something new. You've let us in the locker room since you got here. We've been showing these videos since you got here of how you interact with your team. And a lot of folks, after you got some heat, went and watched that and went, wow. I mean, you were almost apologetic. I needed to put you deserve to win. We're going to work harder to put you in the right position. At practice today at one point, and as you said, you've been all over the field. You were the offense. Your receivers were trying to get in the right place and run around. You said, stop running around. Just relax, everybody. Relax. So I think you've been doing this a long time. You know which buttons need to be pushed when. And I'm from the school of thought, when I was younger, if you messed up on the field, you expected to get yelled at. And if you didn't, that's when you started to worry.
Yeah.
Because if the coach wasn't holding you accountable, he either wasn't going to play you or he didn't care. But my picture is the big picture. Don't believe what some people say necessarily. And you usually bring the appropriate emotional tone to whatever needs to be done?
Well, I'm good. Like I said, I think I've got a pretty good handle on my football team. Here's what I do when I recruit players. I said, look, you're going to come to Notre Dame, and there's not going to be any mixed messages. You're going to know exactly where you stand. Now, you may not like what you hear, but you're going to know where you stand. And then this day of social media and text messaging, how many people have gotten a text message in the last couple of weeks said, what do they mean by that? That doesn't happen in our program. You're going to know exactly what we're talking about, what we mean every single day. We're honest. We're upfront. We're going to tell you what's going on every single day, and that's how we grow. And I guess some people don't like that, and that's fine for them. But that's what we do in our program at Notre Dame, and our kids know exactly what they're going to get from me, and we work well. We're all in it together. We win together. We lose together. I'm a 2-4 coach. And we've got to do better, and we know that, but we're working at it, and I think it's work in progress that we're excited that we get a chance to play on Saturday.
You know, and people, go ahead and text or tweet me if you disagree, but what I just heard from you, isn't that what we want in life? I mean, my business, I'm kind of a performer, and I had a boss once after a terrible sportscast. Went to black, the scores are, comes out and goes, hey, Jack, nice job tonight. I knew they hadn't paid any attention at all. And then, great show, you didn't hear a thing. You want that. In anything you do in life, you want straightforward feedback. You just want to know what's expected of you. You want to know what's recognized. And if you do that, what more can you ask for in anything?
Look, our kids know where we're coming from because we're clear every single day. I talk to them. I've got relationships with our players. They want to be challenged. And they want to be the best, and they know that they can't be coddled. They don't come to Notre Dame to get their hand held. We don't hold their hand and take them to class. We don't have a football dorm and wake them up in the morning and walk them to class. They got to get their butts up in the morning on their own. They got to get to class on their own. They got to work on their own. We're not an enabling institution. That's not what we do here. They're going to grow up as men at Notre Dame, and when they leave here, they're going to be good fathers. They're going to be good husbands. They're going to be good role models. They're going to fight through adversity. That's who we are. If you don't like us, find another place.
And let's talk about a few guys who you have challenged who are playing well. One of them, I noticed Saturday, his numbers weren't terrific, but Daniel Cage played a heck of a game, and he's been playing better and better for you.
I like Daniel Cage. Daniel is growing up. Every day that I get a chance to spend with Daniel, we see him growing up. You wouldn't think it. Daniel's a big fella, number 75 right there. He sniffs out a screen. You can see Greer Martini, who's been all over the field. This looks like Thanksgiving Day right in the backyard, guys. That's the only kind of game you want to play. You wouldn't want to play this game any other time but Thanksgiving in your backyard because it was difficult to do a lot of things. But talking about Daniel Cage, here's a guy that just continues to get better and better, working hard in the classroom. I'm so proud of what he's been able to accomplish coming from Cincinnati, Ohio. I can't say enough good things about Daniel right now.
Another guy, and he's actually my pregame guest on the IMG radio network this week, Jerry Tillery, a young man, typical Notre Dame guy. He's interested in a lot of stuff. It's not just football.
Well, I would tell you, Jack, you're right. I would tell you that maybe he was interested in too many things last year. But I'm telling you what, his focus right now, he can flip the switch. And that's a big thing right now in a sense that he can do all the things and be well-rounded and be a great student and be active in our community. But when it's football time now, he's flipping the switch. And he's what I call a tough gentleman. And he's tough on the football field, and he's a gentleman off the field. Because I don't want him the other way. I don't want gentlemen on the football field.
That's no good.
And tough guys off the field. You can have those at somewhere else. But he's turned into one of those guys that is playing at a high level right now, too.
Career-high 9 tackles against NC State. And he had talked in the past about maybe being a doctor someday. I didn't know what he was majoring in, and I asked him. He's chosen to major in economics. So he certainly is not taking the easy way out.
No, he's coming on. I expect to see more from him as well.
Your quarterback continues to play well. His numbers got dinged a little bit because he had to play in the hurricane, but just added to the Manning Award watch list. Just about every projection that I see, and I know it's noise, which you guys aren't focused on, but he could be the first pick, and he's expected, if he would come out, be the first pick in the NFL draft. And the great thing I like about Deshaun is he's not even paying any attention to that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard, when you're that age, when you hear all those things. But, he's got a good mom and dad that have raised him to be the kid that he is. So they're taking a lot of that off his plate and handling that for him. But, he had a good week. I think he focused on some mechanical issues, not issues, but some mechanics that I think can make him even more efficient in what he's doing. And I thought he had a great week of practice. And here's a guy that, many people are talking about as one of the best quarterbacks in the country, but really did a nice job, I thought, this week, paying attention to some of the detail things. And that's what I get a chance to work with each week. So, some people might think that, Coach, what's going on? You're worried about. I'm not worried about any of that stuff because I get a chance to coach these guys, every single day to being better because they want the best as well. And Deshaun Kaiser is one of them.
One of the themes you and I have talked about a lot since you got here 7 seasons ago is how hard it is to win at this level. And it's something I knew before you got here, and people forget that. You've run into a situation this year when you look back through all of your seasons, even the 12-0 regular season, you've won a lot of close games that could have gone either way. For whatever reason, you have not been able to win those close games this year. And I know you're spending a lot of time looking at it and have actually adjusted some things about how you approach the youngest team since 1972 to basically kind of teach them what the little things they need to do that they don't know because they haven't done them before.
Right. So over the last 6 years, we've won 21 games by 7 points or less. This year, we've lost 4 games by 7 points or less. So what's different there? This football team, you could throw on any of those other years and say, well, they're just as good. What's the difference? The difference is we're not closing out football games and winning them late. And that, to me, is an attitude. It's experience. It's resolve. And you have to gain that. You can't just overnight have it. And with a lot of inexperienced players, you have to gain that. And I think they've gained that perspective. And they understand that at Notre Dame, you're going to play a lot of teams that are up for you and are ready to play. And you've got to finish off games. And we haven't finished off the games. We've had chances to win each one of those 4 games late and haven't been able to do it. Once we break through and gain that confidence that we will win this game and have that kind of mentality, we're going to be in pretty good shape. But we've got to break through. And I told our team, this is the weekend. We got to break through against Stanford.
Notre Dame fans are smart, they're intense, and they're inquisitive. Knowing that, we have a lot of questions. We'll get to those questions from our audience here at O'Rourke's right after this timeout. The Brian Kelly Radio Show, presented by TireRack.com. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Radio Show. Packed house here Thursday night before Notre Dame renews its rivalry with Stanford. We have 3 questions, all well written. I will read 2 of them. It's the same basic question. Jack Coltes from Wausau, Wisconsin, who in the ACC decided to play the game last week. Coach Dean from South Bend, who decides to play in a hurricane? It's not Notre Dame.
No, I didn't want to play in the hurricane. But that's above my pay grade. I think that becomes, really out of the commissioner's office. And, they had, felt like the conditions were going to be, okay to get the game in. Obviously, they were very difficult and didn't feel like there maybe would be a suitable time to play it again.
It is a hard call, and there's that football tradition that you play in any weather. But I think there is a national consensus because it may have been more highlights were shown of your game, maybe not of plays that mattered, but of people basically almost drowning on plays that push it off. Because my perspective, and I don't tweet a lot during games, but I tweeted it out in second quarter so people couldn't say you only said that because Notre Dame lost. So much work is put in by both teams. So much money is spent, and that wasn't a test of football. that was basically, it was roulette. It was a slot machine. It was a test of luck.
Yeah, I mean, who was going to fumble a snap or, obviously not, be in a position to, execute at some time in the game. And it's unfortunate that it came down to that. But, North Carolina State, came up with one more play and they won the football game. So, we've put that behind us.
But we did ask you a TV show this week. That's not the worst weather you've ever played in.
Well, it was really, really close. I mean, I was at Central Michigan. We played Army, and I think that rivaled the conditions. The difference here was the wind, and then the lightning delay made it even more difficult in this game.
Julie Haynes is here from South Bend. With the limited contact time and players' safety, how do you set up practice for tackling?
We start our practices on Tuesday and Wednesday for the first period. We do a circuit tackling, which allows our guys to get in some form tackling. I think it's very effective that way.
One of our cameramen right here, Natural Baptiste, Notre Dame student. He's a staffer. He can't win anything, but staff can submit questions as well. He would like to know, if you could have any superpower, what superpower would you want to have?
Superpower? What would it be? Probably the ability to, get somebody to do it right the first time. I'm a coach, right?
Either that or get into the minds of officials, but getting it done right would probably be the best thing. John Weber's here from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Coach, what do you do if you need to use the restroom during the game? No one's ever asked you that on this show.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
You just got to hold it. It's that simple.
Sandy from Chicago is here, wants to know what music gets you pumped up for your pregame speech.
If I was to play music, and I don't play a lot of music, but it probably would be, Bruce Springsteen. A little bit of Bruce Springsteen would get me going.
Chuck Sossman is always here from Granger. I think he's probably won more gear than anybody else, but good attendance, you get rewarded. Coach, are there any freshmen left that haven't played? There's a few.
There are a few. Tony Jones, outstanding running back out of IMG Academy. We don't want to play him, and it was close. With Terran Folston going down with an ankle, we played with really only two running backs, and we were able to get through with just the two backs. And Folston's back healthy, thank goodness. But Tony Jones, outstanding freshman back that we haven't played, and that's good for us. I think he would have been the next guy that would definitely have made an impact for us. There's probably a couple more that I'm forgetting, but I think we got them all out right now.
Sweet Lou Monaco has a running back question from Springfield, New Jersey on the Tire Rack question portal. Coach, how can you get Josh Adams more carries? I think he has the potential to be one of the best.
How can we? Well, I think, we brought Dexter Williams into the fold in terms of, sharing some carries. We felt like, Josh is an outstanding back, but, rounding him into, shape in terms of, we felt like early on he was a bit fatigued. And sometimes that just happens with backs coming out of camp. And we feel like he's got that bounce back in his step. I think you'll see more of him as the season progresses, but we featured the quarterback a little bit in terms of the carries as well. And I would prefer that we start to move more towards featuring both of those running backs. So I think as the season progresses, you'll see more of an emphasis on Josh in terms of the running game.
And, of course, last year against Stanford, he set the Notre Dame freshman rushing record with 168 yards. My point being, he will be a point of emphasis in their defensive game plan.
Oh, no question. And I think that they understand that they have to slow him down. And, we have to have multiple ways to attack Stanford because they clearly know that we were able to run the ball effectively against them last year.
Joan Rivers is here from Seattle, Washington. Coach, do you pick your own suits?
I have a hand in it. My assistant Beth Rex is very helpful in getting me in the right zip code, and then we have a tailor out of Madera, Ohio, who helps out quite a bit as well. So I have a little bit of a say in it, but not totally.
Which is perfect for a guy.
Yeah, it's
just
really
give me
good.
something that looks good. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, it
Absolutely.
really works out nice.
All right, in our next segment, we're going to welcome a couple of members of your recruiting staff, Aaron Carney and Jasmine Johnson. Talk about what they do for you and what they mean to this program.
So Aaron is the director of recruiting services at Notre Dame and heads up our, arguably one of the most important parts of our football program.
It's the lifeblood of college football.
Absolutely. And Jasmine handles our operations, our on-campus operations in terms of really working on a day-to-day basis, setting up the on-campus visits, working with the parents, working with the student athletes. She's a Notre Dame grad and just has a great way with the parents and the student athletes, has a great understanding of Notre Dame. She can really relate with all of the student athletes and the parents that come up. She can give them great insight and information. But Aaron has all of those organizational responsibilities, from everything from our social media mailings to making sure that the organization of flights and things of that nature. There's a lot of moving pieces there that Aaron is responsible for, and he's done a great job. I think we've got one of the top 10 recruiting classes in the country right now, and he's got a great staff, again, I think both of them just do a great job working well together.
And that social media component is so important. And again, you have made the point, and it comes through. I've never done the numbers, but I would say probably almost 2/3 of your commitments come after the visit. Getting them to visit and their experience here is what turns the tide most times. That visit is so critical.
Absolutely, and the fall is not the first time. Most of them have already been up here. We'll have some committed recruits that are here. Some are taking their first visit. So the organization, you see a big tent out in front of the Jordan Hall of Science. That's for recruiting, and so there's a lot of things that go into the organization of the weekend, and Aaron and Jasmine, I think, will give you a great insight into the real details of what goes on behind the scenes.
So we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of recruiting with Aaron Carney and Jasmine Johnson right after this time out of the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House, presented by TireRack.com. Please welcome Aaron Carney, the Director of Football Recruiting Operations at Notre Dame, and Jasmine Johnson, who's the Coordinator of On-Campus Recruiting. They work hand in hand with Recruiting Coordinator Mike Elston, but they're very important this year, especially because Mike's also got additional duties this year with the changings in the coaching staff, and they also work with Director of Player Personnel Dave Poloquin. So, Aaron, I will start with you. Coach kind of gave a little bit of an overview of what you do. What do you see as your most important duties every week for this football team?
I think just managing what we do recruiting from a week-to-week basis. Like Coach mentioned, from what we're mailing out to who we're bringing on campus and organizing everything that kind of goes on behind the scenes. We've got, 5 people that work in our recruiting office, so making sure everybody's on task and making sure we have our tasks that, our goals, everything getting accomplished and being on task.
Now, you did this for 6 years at Nebraska. You're a graduate of the University of Nebraska. I'm a Missouri graduate, so we hated you when I was in school years and years ago. But I think one of the things a lot of people may not recognize that in Midwestern football, Nebraska's always had a great academic reputation and has always been one of the leaders in academic All-Americans. So
Sure.
Were there some similarities when you slid over here to Notre Dame?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. There are a lot of parallels as far as, obviously both historic programs with a ton of tradition and things from, consecutive sellouts to academic All-Americans, and really kind of the only show in town. Everybody rallies around the team, and Saturdays is kind of a football day in each spot. So it's been interesting to see the differences, from a public to a private school, and then also all the similarities that go with the traditional football powerhouse, if you want to say.
And we would actually, in Columbia, Missouri, watch when Nebraska came to town because the RVs would start coming in on Thursday night. You guys traveled 12 to 15,000 to a road game. At the time, Missouri wasn't drawn that well, so the tickets were there. Jasmine, you're a Notre Dame grad in psychology, second year specifically working with recruiting for football, but you've done a lot here. You were a resident assistant, sports nutrition assistant, student athletic trainer during your years. You got out and worked at General Mills for a while, but you came back to get back in to sports very quickly. Why did you make that decision?
Long story short, Notre Dame is my home. It feels like home, and so it's been great to come back and start my sports career at a place where it's not so new.
Well, and how important do you think what you just told us, your outlook, this is your home, because you have to convince some of the best football players and smartest football players in the country to make this their home, and they have other options. It's not their home yet, and you've been very successful, because I talked with Coach how important Notre Dame thinks the closing thing is getting people on campus, and when they get here more often than not, they say yes. So how do you think that just your love of this place, you obviously must transfer that to the players that you deal with when they come for their visits?
Definitely. I am really passionate about this place, and between the people that are here and the places that make up Notre Dame, I love showing the guys that come visit and their families, and just kind of having them drink the blue and gold Kool-Aid as well.
And I'm glad you made time to come, both of you, because I know this is a big recruiting weekend and you're a little busy this week. But from your perspective, bringing all, and again, folks, they can't talk about any specific recruits, NCAA violation, but I guess you could probably give me a number. How many are coming in, and how much, what goes into setting up this weekend for you? When did you start preparing for this weekend?
Well, I'd say we probably started right after the Duke game ended. It was nice to have 3 weeks to 2 weeks to kind of take our time and really focus on getting Stanford ready. As far as numbers, we have 55 total recruits coming, 8 official visitors, and with our 55 recruits comes a total of about 150 visitors that'll be here on campus for our game.
Okay, this is for both of you, and thank God, Notre Dame fans, I'm not one of the recruits, but let's pretend I'm one of the 8 official visits this weekend. I'm a highly regarded tight end, and you really want me. What am I going to go through this weekend on my official visit?
Well, a little bit depends on when you're available to come. The nice thing about having a night game is that if a kid does play on a Friday night, he can still
as
hop
most
on.
kids in the country do.
Sure, yeah. I mean, a lot of them do. So the night game allows them to hop on a plane Saturday morning and still get to town and experience everything on game day here. So ideally, we like to find guys that maybe have a bye. They're not playing on a game Friday night, so that would allow them to get here, say, around noon on Friday and experience, the pep rally and everything on campus that day. And then really Saturday, we let them see the team a little bit if we do a practice like shakeout in the morning, and then maybe just a couple academic things during the day. All of our guys meet with the admission staff when they come, so knock out kind of those things that they have to do and enjoy the game. And then really Sunday, they have to be out by noon if they started at noon. We have like a 48-hour window that they can be on campus officially. So we have them meet with the coaching staff on Sundays and end it that way, kind of talking football and recapping the game if they want, or how they see them maybe fitting into what we do.
So Jasmine, you say you really enjoy meeting the families. Expand on that a little. Why do you enjoy meeting the families so much?
There's just something that's familial about Notre Dame, so bringing families to campus and showing them the magic that is this campus and the people that are here. I really like getting to know the people behind the kid that's on the field and in the classroom, getting to know their parents, getting to know their siblings, and kind of draw them into the dream as well. It's a lot about recruiting the whole family as a whole instead of just the recruit.
In the players' circle of advisors, who's the most important most often? Is it the moms?
You got to get the mom.
Got to get the mom?
Got to get mom.
Absolutely. Now, I know that you work very closely with both Mike Elston and Dave Poloquin. I mean, even on the Ask Coach Kelly, it's amazing. You probably get the same thing. We get so many emails to Ask Coach Kelly. It's supposed to be a Questions TV show. I'm a player. I want to play at Notre Dame, or I'm a coach, and you've got to come see that. And I just forward those to Dave Poloquin. And, you never know when maybe there is a diamond in the rough. But talk about the process, how it comes. I would imagine it comes from them in terms of these are the guys we're recruiting. Does it ever go the other way? Do you guys ever get a lead or something and say, hey, maybe you should look at this?
We do. Obviously, the fan base here and the alums are passionate, and so we field a lot of calls. A lot of things get transferred our way, whether it's from, maybe Jack Swarbrick's office or somewhere on campus. Somebody has a connection or a tie to Notre Dame. I got a phone call last week from a kid in Houston, and his next-door neighbor was a Notre Dame alum, and so he was exposed to Notre Dame at an early age and was able to come up to a game. And so you find those stories all the time, and really you just need to do your due diligence because you never know when someone's going to pan out, and someone may have the potential to help this team out.
So is this somewhat segmented? They identify and you guys execute? I mean, is there a lot of interaction? I mean, obviously Coach Elson's got Coach Game this weekend,
Sure.
So he's got to visit, but he's got responsibilities. And I know Dave Peloquin's got a lot of responsibilities as well. So when it gets to be like tomorrow, is it your baby?
Yeah, the coaches are with the team, and they're getting ready for the game. So they hand it over to us at that point, and they have the faith that we've set things up, and we have the experience to pull it off. So it's kind of both of us hand in hand, and then some other people like Dave that help us out. It's kind of all hands on deck on these weekends.
All right, you guys have watched the show before, and you know what's coming up in the next segment. I know Jasmine's really looking forward to this.
So excited.
You two have to run the 60-second drill after this timeout on the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House.
The seasons will soon be changing again, so before the fall and winter holidays arrive, visit your Chesterton or Granger Pella Windows and Doors showroom for big savings. New Pella Windows and Doors can help you lower your heating costs and create a more comfortable, convenient home. Schedule your free in-home consultation to receive 40% off qualifying installations or special financing. Certain restrictions apply. Call 877-98-PELLA. That's 877-987-3552. Hurry, sale ends November 17th.
Need cash? Call 574-233-CARS.
LKQ will buy your car or truck.
Need cash? Call 574-233-CARS.
LKQ buys them all, running or not.
Need cash? Call 574-233-CARS.
LKQ even buys wrecked vehicles.
Need cash? Call 574-233-CARS.
LKQ will even come and get it from you.
Need cash? Call 574-233-CARS.
Get cash for your clunker at LKQ.
Dave here. My friends at Notre Dame Federal Credit Union are celebrating 75 years of serving members right here in the local community and all over the world. This is why I love these guys. They actually have a soul and a different spirit of how they approach the customer. Since the folks at Notre Dame Federal Credit Union aren't going for profit, account members are, well, they're like owners. And it's easy to become one. Visit NotreDameFCU.com. That's NotreDameFCU.com to find out more. Federally insured by the NCUA.
WSBT's JT in the Morning goes one-on-one weekday mornings around 6:50 and 8:40 with Mike France of Visit South Bend, Mishawaka. On Around the Town with Mike, Mike loves sharing some of the most impressive parts of his hometown with JT. Mike will run down all the local happenings and events in our community. You can discover things to do, places to stay, and new places to eat and drink. So join JT in the morning as he goes around the town weekday mornings with Mike France of VisitSouthBend.com on Around the Town with Mike.
What parents show kids can be more important than what they say when it comes to building vocabulary. I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz of the Indiana Youth Institute. A report from the University of Chicago says parents can help young children learn new words by linking those words to the objects the kids can see. Parents who are better at making visual and verbal connections have children with vocabularies that are 25% larger than their peers when they enter kindergarten. For more parent tips, go online to iyyi.org/kid.
There are countless not very smart things you can do.
Thank goodness we are back on the Brian Kelly Radio Show. Jasmine wanted an advance look at the questions. You've seen the show. This is like, I had a class in college that everybody had to take in the Missouri Journalism School, and the guy had been giving the same exam for 30 years. So somehow some of the questions were known. I have some original ones for you guys, but not many.
Okay.
Here's an easy one, and you can confer or give two answers. Favorite all-time movie?
Okay, I'm going to be really basic and say Mean Girls.
Nothing wrong with that.
Ace Ventura.
All right.
So true.
First car you ever drove?
I had a 1983 Toyota truck.
I had a Saab 9.3.
So that's your car was nicer than this one.
Definitely.
Favorite musical group or artist?
Beyonce.
Alan Jackson.
All right. Favorite class?
Science.
English.
Now, do you ever play music? I should have followed up in the office.
Oh my gosh.
It's an inner
So
office
is there,
battle.
I thought of that, and my brain goes, "You idiot! You should have followed up." Beyonce and country.
Yeah, it does. We don't mesh well.
So how do you choose?
We have pockets of noise.
Pockets of noise or headphones?
Yeah, headphones.
I worked in an office once. You had to do headphones.
Yeah.
One thing the public or recruits might be surprised to learn about you.
Stump me.
I like baking. I don't know.
That doesn't necessarily surprise me. I mean, I admire that because I can't cook.
Yeah.
Our microwave actually broke this week, and I've eaten out every night because my wife's out of town. So that's a true thing. That probably doesn't surprise anybody. As members of the recruiting staff, thoughts on plans for the video board that will be in Notre Dame Stadium next year?
Wow, tons of stuff. I mean, we've already kind of been brainstorming what we can do graphic-wise and things that we can send out to recruits because so many places now use that in kind of some of their campaigns, and we hasn't made sense, obviously, to do it, so we're looking forward to it.
Are you excited too?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be. It was controversial. It's not anymore.
Yeah.
Because you have to have it. And when my dad was still alive, he would come out every year, and I'd sit in the stands for a half with him. I didn't have a monitor. I didn't have and it wasn't as good as the experience with a screen. I'll tell you that. So that's going to be just terrific. All right. This goes because you know the players. This can be coaching staff, your staff, players. Best nickname for anyone who works out of the Goog, including the players. Who has it? Best nickname. Who has it? Could be a staffer.
We call Coach Elston the L Train.
The L Train. Ooh, that's pretty good. We haven't heard that before.
We go choo-choo when he's coming towards us.
Oh, really? And how does that go over?
Yeah.
He's good.
Okay, well, one thing you always hear from Coach Elston.
I don't think that we always hear.
He always talks about when ideas are good or bad if they hit your brain. He's, oh, this doesn't hit my brain quite well, or yeah, that really hits my brain. Great idea, Jazz.
So if it doesn't hit his brain,
It's a bad idea.
Down to the next.
It's not going anywhere.
it's got to hit your brain.
Yeah.
That sounds like an interesting coaching thing. Get your helmet off so I can hit your brain.
Yeah.
One thing you always hear from this gentleman.
Probably just what's going on, like coming in, what's going on today.
Just checking it out.
What's on the docket.
Yeah, he just kind of comes in and checks on us a lot of times. Small talk and whatnot.
What's the toughest thing about your jobs?
I think just dealing with adversity as far as you're dealing with so many different parents and so many different kids, and my flight was late, so he's an hour late to something, just kind of rolling with what's going on. And we always tell each other that, as long as we act like things are calm and everything's fine, that they never know. So I think just keeping our composure.
Yeah, my mantra during game weekends is I can only control what I can control, because otherwise you're just going to lose your mind.
That's a pretty good philosophy for life. And I didn't learn it till very recently. How about the funniest thing that's happened in your office this year?
Funniest thing in the office.
And you could say nothing funny ever happened in the office. That's up to you.
Nothing's hitting my brain.
Nothing's hitting my. I don't even know.
Pass.
All right, well, Coach Elston will probably email me that was not a good question. How
Yeah.
about this? Who's the best singer in the Goog?
I'd say the most passionate singer would be Mike McGlinchey. Wherever he goes, you can always hear him singing.
Really?
Yeah, I think he'd be a really good karaoke singer. I haven't seen it, but that's my bet.
He does good impersonations too.
Really? That's good to know. He comes across as so serious. Who do you think the best dancer in the Goog is?
I'm going to say Chris Fink. Wasn't there a video from him at South Dining Hall dancing?
Yeah. I would have to say Stud Still, though.
All right, we'll keep an eye on social media for those. They'll pop up before they leave. Who's the best comedian on the staff? Coach, recruiting, anybody on the staff? Who's the funniest person on the staff?
I'm going to say Coach Hudson.
I would agree.
Really?
Yeah.
He keeps things pretty light.
Any lines you can repeat that stick out? He's just he just makes you smile.
He's
Yeah,
just
just in
funny.
general.
Yeah, just really
Well,
lighthearted.
And that fits into the whole reason why Coach Kelly made the decision to elevate him. Who's the best dresser on the staff?
I would say Coach Light.
Really?
He's always dressed to the nines.
That's good. You agree with that?
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Now, Aaron's actually worried about this question. I told him Aaron's worried about this.
The worst dress question.
I would say the best dresser is also Coach Kelly because I love my job.
Smart
All right,
answer.
who's the worst dressed person in the Goog?
I love my job, and so I plead the fifth.
Same?
I'm passing on that one.
Yeah,
I don't see any
these
way
are good
that's
staff
a win.
members. These
I
are
don't
good
see
staff
anything
members.
to gain by that question.
You know, with all the hacked emails and stuff today, the last thing you want to do is go in public on something like that. So that's really, really
Personally,
smart. Who on your staff who's not a football coach do you believe someday could become a football coach?
Are GAs eligible?
Yes.
I think Donovan Raiola does a great job. Seems
I'd
passionate
second that.
about it.
Now, you were a trainer. You were a manager at Nebraska for
Yep.
5 years. And, I mean, a lot of people think that you have to have played the game to become a coach or an administrator, and that's a common way to get there. But especially in the administrative side, the recruiting side, and more even on the coaching side, people who have been around the game in a support role seem to go on to become very important either on the support side in administration or even coaching. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it probably parallels coaching. I mean, it's experience, and if you can get it at a young age and be fortunate to work with some good coaches and some good programs, and I think people respect that and trust you.
I almost think being a trainer or a manager, it's almost like an internship for coaching because you're actually focused on that aspect of it, where a player is focusing on getting better at his particular craft. And in football, that means his unit, his room, but he doesn't see the big thing. You guys see the big thing all the time.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and again, you love your jobs. So you can pass, but what do you think is next for both of you? Where do you see yourself in 10 or 15 years?
It's a good question. I've gone back and forth with, kind of trying to progress in college athletics as far as in an assistant, DFO role, or whether it's, one thing with recruiting staffs, they're expanding so much on college campuses that I think a lot of those roles might look different in 10 or 15 years, where you'll see assistant ADs of recruiting, and some of those are already popping up at places. So I like college football. It's kind of what I grew up in, and I'd like to stay.
And there's you said this is your home.
This
This is my 34th year. So if you asked me this 15 years ago, I didn't know. I've had basically the same job for 34 years. So do you think in 10 or 15 years you're still going to be here?
I don't know. I'm either going to be here for 50 years or I'm leaving next year. I don't know, but I'm really not leaving next year. I think as far as what I'd like to do career-wise, I would like to get into student welfare and development, and I think Ron Paulus does a really good job for our football team, and so I'd like to get my hands into that kind of stuff, and once they're here, nurturing them and the educational side of things, doing community service, how are they off the field.
And finally, best thing about working at Notre Dame?
I'd say just the being around people that are passionate for what they do.
I'd second that. It's the people.
Aaron and Jasmine, great job. That wasn't so bad, was it?
No, not at all.
You
It's
guys
fun.
were on longer than most. We'll have you back. We'll be back to wrap things up on the Brian Kelly Radio Show right after this.
There are countless not very smart things you can do in your car. Watching Notre Dame football while driving, doing push-ups after the Irish score while driving, dancing a victory jig while driving. But with TireRack.com, it's easy to be smart about your tires. Use our test results and consumer reviews to find the best tire for your car. Use our comparison tools to choose the right tires for you. Then have them shipped and installed fast. TireRack.com, official tire experts of Notre Dame football.
Join us at O'Rourke's Public House, home of the Brian Kelly Radio Show, to cheer on the Fighting Irish before, during, and after all home games. O'Rourke's Irish decor, delicious menu items, and wide variety of beer selections are sure to enhance your game day experience. Open at 8 a.m. on game days, you can watch Saturday's college football action on any of O'Rourke's 15 TVs, including a 92-inch projector screen. O'Rourke's Public House, located directly across from Notre Dame Stadium at the corner of Angela and Eddy Street in the Eddy Street Commons Center.
Bank of America and the Notre Dame Alumni Association bring you the Notre Dame Bank AmeriCard Cash Rewards Visa Card. You can earn cash back on purchases, groceries, and gas, and even get a $100 cash rewards bonus offer. Head online to my.nd.edu/credit card and learn more today. New designs available, either the football helmet or the Golden Dome. The Notre Dame Bank AmeriCard Cash Rewards Visa Card online at my.nd.edu/credit card.
Don't just say you're a diehard fan, show it. Nissan's giving you the chance to win a custom-wrapped 2017 Titan, decked out in your school's official colors. To enter, go to diehardfan.com/sweepstakes, and you could turn your garage into the ultimate fan cave. Nissan Titan, take on game day. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Starts 9/1/16 at 12:0001 a.m. EDT and ends on 10/23/16 at 11:59:59 p.m. EDT. Open to residents of the USDC. 18 and over. Official rules visit www.diehardfan.com/sweepstakes. Sponsor Nissan North America, Inc.
We are back to wrap things up on the Brian Kelly Radio Show. You know, it's always been an interesting rivalry because it is the two elite academic schools that consistently play successful college football at the highest level. But in recent years, it's become one of the most competitive. And normally, among two ranked teams, both teams really need a win on Saturday night. So how do you see this game?
Well, I think for us, we are who we are in terms of how we've played this year, and we've played close games. We've lost 4 games by 7 points or less. So we're going to be competitive. We're going to be right there. I think the difference for us now will be finding a way to win in the fourth quarter. Stanford certainly has got some really good wins. Kansas State, UCLA, USC. They've stumbled the last couple of weeks, but they're a team with an immense amount of pride. Colin McCaffrey, obviously, we all know about what he can do. Rucker on offense is an outstanding receiver. Solomon Thomas on defense. David Shaw does a great job getting his football team back and ready to go. Colin McCaffrey, I should say. It's just a really good football team that has not played as well the last couple of weeks. So it's just one of those. I think Christian McCaffrey, I keep saying Colin. We have a Colin. Christian plays at a high level.
Now, he has some mysterious injury, and they're not going to make a decision on Friday, Saturday. Does that make any difference to you?
No. We've prepared for Christian. Last year, we had to be ready for him as well. Obviously, we did a pretty good job.
Player.
He's a really, really good player. And he's going to be in special teams, catching the ball back out of the backfield, all of those things. So it should be a great game, as it has been over the last 4 years.
So night game, 7:39 kickoff. Atmosphere should be great. Weather's supposed to be good, maybe a little showers, but it won't be a hurricane. So
no. We
good to be home.
Yeah, it is, and I know our kids are really excited about the opportunity. It's Stanford, Notre Dame, and we go on break next week, so our kids are excited about giving all they have for Saturday night.
Coach, thank you. Folks, thank you. We won't be here next Thursday because it's break week. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Until then, good night, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and go Irish.
The Brian